Hey everybody, let me talk in this video about the program concept or what we mean by a program. Program is basically you have a specific problem and you want to find solution for this problem. If you try to solve this problem by math, it will cost you time and money. Maybe you cannot solve this problem like basic math or paper or whatever. So what you will do is say, okay, I will do problem solving. What we mean by problem solving, you think about this problem and I try to find solution for it. And you will write your program for this problem. The program will be number of line of code. When this line get executed, it will solve the problem for you. And this is basically what we mean by program. So program is just certain steps. When it execute, it will solve a specific problem for the user. So now let we understand the main concept of programming. A program, one of the rule you have to know about it, the program will be executed step by step. That means if you have x equal 10, then you have x equal x plus 1, then you have a print x. So let me suppose this is basic program, whatever print mean. Don't care about it. So this is first step. This one will execute first. So the program will be run from here. So he will give value 10 for x. Then he will increase x by 1. So now here x equal 11, while before x equal 10. So what we mean x equal x plus 1? That means x, the new x will be old x, which is 10, added to 1, which is 11. Then you print the value of x in the screen. Basically, what I want to show you from this video, you have to know the program will be executed step by step. So he'll execute first step, then second step, then third step. So he never jumped to third step whenever you run it. So when you click run, the program will be run step by step. So try to understand this main concept of programming. Program will be executed step by step. And basically what we mean by program, or what we will do by a program, we have a specific problem and you want to find solution for this problem, we use a program. So let's go and do our first application. Hey everybody, let me start with bolt first application in Java. So to get started Java, I will click search and look for Eclipse. Whatever your operating system is, just go to the search and look for Eclipse and open the Eclipse if it's Windows, Mac or Linux. So this is the Eclipse environment will be. So to create a new project, just click right here and click new and select Java project, or you could go to file, then new, then Java project. You could give here the project name. Use everything in small letter. So let me give it first app demo. Okay, then click finish. Here we go. If you see, this is my Java project. All my code will goes in this part, in src. And this is my addition library. I will use it later. So to get started with Java, you have to know one thing. Java project will be from number of packages, and in every package you will have number of classes. But first we will start simple. We start with one package with number of classes. So to get started, I have to have package. So I click new. I will just highlight this one. I click new and I select package. Let me give it main package demo. And you could give it any name. You could give it just main package and click right. So if you see, I have no package name, it main package. As I told you, all your classes will be inside this package. So you you could click right and select new, then you select class. Let me give it name main class. So if you see, I just give it first main class. You could give it capital letter using this way, capital letter from every first name. So main class in this way. You could give it everything small, whatever you want to give it, then click finish. If you see now, I have one package, and inside this package I have one class. As I told you, you could click right on the package and add more classes whenever your project grow. But first you'll start simple. You have one package and one class. When I want to tell Java this class are belonging to this package, I have to say okay, package and the package name. I give the package name that this class belong to. So I would say package, then the package name. Then I start with my class. I say, okay, public class name, class. Then I give it the name of the class, and I open bracket to close it. My code will goes inside this class. One thing you have to know in Java, there's a starting point inside of the program. Whenever someone click run, there's one method will fire automatically without any call. Name it main method. To implement this method, you have to write it in this way. You say public. If you see everything in small, make sure Java is case sensitive. So whenever I write something in small, you have to write in the small. Then you have to write static. Then you have to write void. Then if you see static is error, so the color is not changes. So make sure you write it correctly. Static void. Then give it name main. If you see everything in small. Now I open the bracket. I give it the input. This method take input string. So make sure you click shift then S, because string in Java define it as case sensitive, so it should be capital first character. So you say string as array, then you write rx. Then you open a bracket and close it. Don't care about data type. I will talk later about data type, but one thing you have to take care about, if whenever I write public everything is small, you have to write it in the small. Don't write some character and put in capital, because it will not work. Java is case sensitive, so write it in public static void. Then the name of the class should be main. Then string, if you see I just write it here capital. Don't write it small, because string in Java are defined in capital letter. Then this is the variable. You could define it capital or small, whatever you would like. I want to display a message for user. Ask him, say, okay, welcome in Java. So I just say here, system. If you see is not working, because system should be first character capital. So I click shift S, system dot out dot print line. If you see, he say this print line will be printing something string, so you could give it string. String in Java defined between double quotation. So you add double quotation, add your string. Let me say welcome in Java 8. So in Java, when you want to define string, you add a string between double quotation. So I just want to display this message. So now, whenever anyone executes this class will start the execution from this method, because this method will execute automatically without any calls. So first line will execute this one. He will print welcome to Java. To execute this program, make sure click save, then click run, because you cannot run without save. You see, he say welcome to Java. If I want to do addition, I could do same way, system.out.writeLine, or I could write syso, then click Control and space, and sometime I will see autocomplete, then I click enter, I will see same thing written. I will say I will write end line, for example, and I click run. One you will see one problem. You will not see the update. Do you know why? You will not see end line, because you did not click save. So you have to click save, then click run. You will see end line is printed also. So here is how Java works. So it will start execution on the main. So make sure all your code goes here. So this is a basic thing how you define classes, or how you define your first application in Java, and how everything works. And see you next. Hey everybody, let me talk in this video about variable and what we mean by variable in programming. So let me first talk about variable in math. So think about in math you have 3 plus 5, whatever equal. Okay? Then you want to add 2 to it. So you'll say 3 plus 5 plus 2. Then you want to subtract 3 from it. So you say 3 plus 5 minus 3, which is you did 2 process on this number. You first added 2 to it, then you subtract 3. Now think about you want to do same this 3 steps on different 2 numbers. What you will do? You say, okay, let's suppose between 6 and 8. You say, okay, instead of 3 I will say 6, instead of 5 I will say 8, instead of 3 6, instead 5 8, and instead of 3 6, and instead 5 8. Now how many change we did? We did 6 change to make our program working on the problem. So think about you represent the 3 and 5 by variable. Let you suppose x equal 3 and let you suppose y equal 5. Okay, then you say, okay, this step will be x plus y plus 2. Then here you say x plus y minus 3. Okay, let's suppose this is another solution that we have it, and this was the first one. Now let we try to do process changing 3 to 5 to 6 to 8. What we will do, instead this one you will say 6, instead this one you will say 8, and all these will keep it. So labeling data with variable will help a lot in updates. So see here I did 2 updates to make this code working on another problem, while here I did 6 updates, so which is too much. For that reason we want to talk about variable. So what we mean by variable in programming? Variable is something hold data temporary in memory. So when you write any program you have to think about how this program working. So let's suppose this is a memory. I know my font is not good. You know in computer every memory location have a number. Let's suppose whatever this number and have value, and every one have number and value, or location ID, or whatever you want to name it, and value. So let's suppose this one be location and this one value. So if you say x equal 3 in programming, what will happen? He will basically go to the memory in any location. He will define, for example, this one x, and he will add 3 in it. So whenever you want to do, for example, another process, you say, okay, I want to subtract 3 from x. You say x minus 3. What he will do, he say, hey, he talking about x. Let me look in the memory for x. So he will go to the memory and look for x. He say, hey, yes, this is x, and this is the value for x. He will take his 3, so I'll say 3 minus 3 equals 0. So basically, the idea of variables is something hold data in memory. When you want to do it, when you want to work with it, or we want to process this data or whatever, you will use the variables in any program you will write it, because we need to save data in memory. We need to use this data. And yes, this is basically what we mean by variables. Hey everybody, let me talk in this video about variables. Java support different type of variables to store data temporarily in your application. So to get started, I will create a new class and I name it variable to just avoid or override something or another. If you remember when we started with Java, we write this method, so just copy this line because we will use it a lot. So just copy this line and add it here in our new class, and make sure you end the class by ending the line this way. So this is our class that we will write, or this is our method we will write our code. So how we define variables? Imagine you want to save name of user. So to save name for user, you need that type of string. So to define string in Java, you will click Shift and click S in capital letter, then you write string. Give it name in this way, and you could give it any value. You could end the line, and then in the next line you could say name equal, for example, you add it between double quotation in this way, name it Hussein Arobay. This is a basic way. Or this is data type, so you could take this one and you could add it here. Make sure to adding semicolon in the end of the line, because Java needs semicolon at the end of the line. So this is name. So to print the name, so you could say SYSO, then Shift Enter, then say name, print name, and you click save, then run. If you see, you will see Hussein Arobay on the screen, because this string will be identified or defined by this variable name. So whenever I want to access to this string, I will use this name, Hussein, or name. If you see name, I could say Hussein Arobay. I could concatenate two names or name with other string. For example, I want to add some other string. I will say concatenate name, then this way. So if you see, I have name, double colon, between double quotation, then a plus, then other name. So to concatenate to string in Java, you just add a plus, then here we go. If I click save, then run, you will see name. Now I have a name Hussein Al-Rubai. This is a basic way how you define a variable in string type. There is a different type of string. So for example, you need to save integer. So in Java you say integer, int, then age. Make sure int, everything in small. Don't say int because you will run the trouble. Int in small. Age, let me say 27. Okay. And if I go in next line, I will write SYSO, then same thing, enter. I want to print the age. I will say, okay, print the age. But if I click save and run, you will see age 27. I want to display age equal 27. So you could say add double quotation age, then this one. So that's mean I'm concatenate this string with this integer. That's okay. Just add a plus between them, and here we go. String with integer could be concatenate. So if you see age equal 27, this is in string. You could define double also. So let me define double in this way. I define the salary. Okay, salary equal, let me say 3500, whatever number you could give it. But because it's double, you could say 0.5 or 0.7, whatever you want to do. If you see, you say, okay, this variable is not used, so you could say SYSO, then you print the salary directory, or it's better to add concatenate with other string. You say salary. Make sure, because you define it here as capital, so make sure also when you call it as capital. I will show you what I mean. Let me just correct the salary. Why I write it down here in error way. When you say here define the first character as capital, should be here as capital. So if you say small, here you go, you run into a problem. So make sure everything, whenever you use capital, whenever you use small. This is one thing in Java, it's case sensitive. If I run, here you see salary is this amount. So name, age, salary. This is how you define different data type. Also, you could define character. You have mean then character. That's mean type or gender. Equal, for example, male. If you see, when I want to define character in string, I added between single quotation. But when I define string of data, I will add it between double quotation. This is how Java works. So when you want to define string, make sure add your string between double quotation. Just to make your life easy, I will take this one, I will add it here to make everything convention. So name, everything between double quotation. If you see gender, single quotation, because it is character. You could also print it, SYSO, then you could write, just make sure copy it. I will say gender plus this one. Click save, then here we go, run. This is gender male. If you see, the one idea I want to share with you here, how the variable could be defined, and the program will execute step by step. First thing will execute this line, then this line, then this line, then this line, then continue execution the lines. Defining the variable, it's really easy in string or any other data type. You could use a float also with Java, that's okay. Float, f, whatever. You know how you want to define float. It should be, for example, 3.5 for f, because it is using float. So when you spy or not by any other variable type of float, you have to add f in the end of the variable. This is how the basic variable could be defined in Java, and this is what I want to share you in this video. Thank you for watching, and see you next. Hey everybody, let me talk in this video about input. Input, that means you allow users to enter some data from the screen, then when they click enter, you process their data. You are sure the data will not be saved in your app. So when you want to print information about the user, you will not save the data inside your code. The data will be static. No, you need something dynamic. You need some data will be entered. You don't need the name to be entered in this way. You need someone enter his name from the screen. So how you do that? So to get started, I will click new class, and I will give the class name input. I give it inputs. Okay, and I make sure to copy whatever I did in variables. So just copy this code for variable and I add it in the input. You remember what we did in the variables. If you don't remember, I will remember you. Just define different type of variable, integer, character, double. Then if I click save, print, I will see this data on the output. So now I don't want this data to be entered directory. I want it entered by the user. So instead having the user name Hussein Rubai as directory, I need user enter his name. So first of all, I need to define static, then scanner. Scanner, that's mean we will ask user to enter some data. So a scanner will be written this way. Then you name it reader. So this is variable from, you will know what I mean by that. So you just define scanner. Then you say, okay, this one will be equal new scanner. You open bracket system dot in. That means some user enter data. So what I mean by this line? I mean by this line, I will define a scanner. That means scan input data. If you see the scanner is not defined, if I click on here, you'll see it say error. You need to import scanner. When I click import, I will see scanner will be imported here. Why we do that? Because the scanner is part from library, name it Java utility scanner. So we cannot call this variable directory or get instance from that class directory without calling that library. So you have to import that library. So in Java, to import library, you say import the name of the library. So if you see, when you remove it, you cannot access to that library because it's not in your scope. So you see there is error. But when you add import, that means I could access to the class name, it's scanner reader, defined in this way. Why I added static? Because this method is static, so you cannot use reader here without it be static. What I mean, so if I guess reader, I want to change it in input by user. I say dot read line, or I want user to input. I will say next line, because it's string. So that means I'm taking from the input the reader. If I remove a static, I cannot access to the reader here because this method is static. So any data outside this method should be also static. So you have to write static. We will talk later about the static. So now the name will be input directory from the screen. Now if I save it, I click enter, the program will not execute, just give the empty screen. If I input name Hussein Rubai, enter, if you see now he give me Hussein Rubai. What the idea here? Well, the idea is write Jana Rubai, it will give me the information for Jana, see name Jana Rubai and all the information. I want to change everything as an input, so instead this one, the name director, I will say reader dot, here is that type is integer, so I want to take it as integer. I will say next, and this way just make sure dot next integer, because I'm taking input from integer because it's integer, so I have to read data as integer. Here the data is a float or double. I will say reader dot next should be double because I'm reading double, and this one should be reader dot, and I say reader dot next. If you see, I don't have next car, I have just only next line. But we know next line will return string for us. We could take first character on the string. What does that mean? That means if I define string, I name it input, and then I will have input for the data that already inputted as a line. So I could take first character from the line by define my gender equal input dot car at index 0. Why? Because I believe when he entered number of character, I could take first character in the string by say the name of the string dot car at index 0. Index 0 first character, index 1 second character, and continue. So now I have the gender. But if you try to run it, you will run into a problem because this reader will confuse between this read line and this read line. So it is better. So what I mean by that, I mean that if I run it, say for example the name Hussein, the salary 22, and the age 22, salary this one, and he gives me this error. See, if you see, he already executed this line, even the reader does not read that line. So this problem, because I told you, because the scanner, you have string reader and you have a next time a so reader, so you cannot use it in some instance. So it's better to define this one reader 1 and another reader, and this one will be index reader 1, and here we go, the problem is fixed. Now if I save and run, first thing I enter name Hussein, age 27, and should be salary this one, and should be gender, should be male, enter. If you see Hussein 27, this salary, this gender. You know, this is not good way for asking user to input information, so it's better to, before asking him to enter his name, I will display message enter name. So it's better to say SYSO, then I say this way, I say enter name, and this way I think this one is better to make it more convention, you will see. And before asking age, I say enter age, and before asking salary, I will say enter salary, and before asking gender, I will say enter gender. Okay, now if I try to run the app again, see here, this is the result. If you see enter name, I will say Jenna, then he say enter age, I will say 27, then he say enter salary, I say this is salary, and he say enter gender, I say female. You see this information, Jenna, age, salary, this is all the information that entered. The idea, if I try to stop it and run the app again, so just let me run it again. So again, Leah, enter age 1 year, salary this one, and gender female. You see, this is the information. So how we input and how we output this information. You have to know there's difference between interline and print. If you see, if I click here, if you see when I input, the input will be next line because I say a print line. If I say only print, okay, and I click stop here and save it, then try to run again, see the data, the name will be beside it. So Hussein will be beside it. Also the age, everything. So it's better when you ask someone to enter, you say only print, not a print line, because you don't want to create a new line for every input. So now you click, then save, then rerun, you will see it's different name. Now see Hussein, age 27, salary, this is salary, and gender is male. Here you go, here the input the information. So if you see how we could input the data, how the application process the data and give us some information. So basic example we shared in this video, and thank you for listening. Hey everybody, let me talk in this video about what does this parameter mean. If you remember a previous video, we talked about how we could input data using scanner, but now we want to input data using this variable. So what's the benefit of this variable? It's a way to allow us to enter data using console directory. So to get started, what I will do, I just click right on my package, new class. I will name it input C. Then I implement this method. Just have two brackets, input open and close. So what does that mean? That means there is number of arguments will be entered from the screen. It will be saved inside the array. I could access to any element in that array. So imagine first argument will be name. So I will define string name equal first argument in this array. So I will say array for 0. That means first argument in the input screen. You could print it also. I say system.o, then I will say print for name, then a name. That means now the user could enter that data to the system is not using a scanner, but using direct from the console. So if you see, I could access to the elements argument for 0. Why argument for 0? Because string here is array, and we'll talk more about array, but first element in array will be 0, second element will be 1, third, fourth, and continue. So yes, this is a basic example that we do. So to run this class, here we go. Now we're done. Let me just remove this line, and I will go to the app and look here. This is my app, this is my src, this is my package, this is the file that I'm looking for is the input C. So to execute it on the terminal, I'll open the terminal. I will navigate to that folder. It is named main package, this one. Okay, make sure when I say ls, I see this file. So just let me just go inside the folder. I will tell you what I will do. So first of all, I will say Java C, because I need to compile my file, sorry. So input C.java. So here you go. If you see input C, that was Java. Now I have input C.class. Class, that means compiled file for my file. Now I want to run. I will say Java, then input C, then I give it the input. What the input should be? All the input will goes under this array. It's array of argument. That's mean I could say Hussein, this first argument, then second argument age, third argument salary, whatever you want to do. I have one argument now to send, only Hussein. If I click enter, you see he write me his name equal Hussein. How he done that? When he get argument, have only one argument, it's Hussein. He take Hussein and it's argument for 0. He added and then he display it. As I told you, you imagine you have two parameters. So you mean age, then argument 1 will be provider. Then just print both of them. Just print the provider and to make it more clear for you. Now I just update it. So make sure when you update it, just compile it first. So make sure Java C for input, compile it again. Then name, I have Java C input Hussein, then compiler Jana or provider Jana. Now you see the name is Hussein and provider Jana. Because now I said in two input for my method. I said Hussein and Jana. Now argument here have to input Hussein and Jana. First argument Hussein, second argument Jana. Should be first one as the name, second one as the provider. If you see how it's complex, do to compile, then run. But in Java, all you have to do, just click here. He will compile all these files and move them to bin. You see all the bin here in same name, and he compiled all the file. So yes, this is a basic. This is the benefit of this one. He will be done. And thank you for watching. Hey everybody, let me talk in this video about comments. So this is your application, but if you come across this application after 1 month, you would not understand what does this line mean. So you need to add documentation for your lines. You need to give a note for every line. What does this line do? So to add note, for example, I want to say this argument, take it for name. You just add double slash, and this way you say this take user name from input. So this is just as a note or as a comment. So the user or any other developer, when he read this line, he understand what does this line mean. This line mean taking argument from input. Whenever you add double slash before the line, this line will never execute, so will never be part from the application. So application first time will start from here, then he will see this line, he will not execute this line, he will jump here, then here, then here, then continue. So make sure you add notes or add comments as much as you could in your code to make other developer understand what you are saying or what you are mean by your code. So for example, here you say get user age. So just a documentation. So just make sure to add double slash. That means this one will be comment. If you add double slash, that means you need to add one line comment. What if you want to add more than one line comment? For example, here you want to add number of lines as a comment, not one line. So to do that, you add slash, then star, then you go down. You will see this two brackets. So you could add your comment here. For example, by Hussein array. Then second line you say app to get user info from console. So if you see, I just have my comment on in more than one line. So just you click enter, you will see he will add star for you, and you could add your comment, whatever your comment will be. If you see how it's going here, just use slash star, then you add your content, then star slash, and in every line you add star star star. This is for multi-line. Make sure to turn this one back package, so you will not have a problem in your code. Here we done, and see you next.